This is the Fantasy Roadshow.
Welcome in to another episode of the Fantasy Roadshow. We are your hosts. You can call me Truck. To my left, you can call him Kulz, and down on the bottom, we got Shane O'Mac. You can find us on Twitter at fantasy_trucker, at Kulz_sports, at smccormick_ff. While you're at it, follow the show at Fantasy Roadshow. We are back. Season 2 kickoff. Boys, how we doing? I feel like I haven't seen you in so long. How's it going, Shane? How you doing, buddy?
Man, it's been good. Man, hearing that music, it just, it's goosebumps going.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's been too long. A lot of things have happened, both with the show and then also in the NFL landscape. So we got a lot to get into. But yeah, definitely it feels weird. And right when I heard the music, I was like, all right, we're on. Ready
Let's
to go.
Yeah. I do want to start off by saying this episode is brought to you by Rule One Proteins. Go to www.rule1proteins.com. Enter promo code Roadies40 at checkout for 40% off. That's Roadies40 for 40% off. We are here today. We're here talking things we've learned from the 2023 season to bring us into the 2024 season to kind of help us, lessons we've learned, stuff, and then kind of an update about what we're doing this off season, where we're going, kind of our status updates. So we're here to let you guys know what's going on and keep you in tune. So please subscribe to the channel. We are at youtube.com/the Fantasy Roadshow, or maybe not yet. We got to maybe build up our subscribers a little bit, but stay tuned. We got a lot coming for you.
We'll make sure we keep our YouTube channel in like the podcast form subject. We're going to, that's our main priority right now, is blasting out our YouTube channel as much as possible, gaining subscribers, getting our content out there, regaining some of our roadies that we've built on the Sports Ethos channel. But, we'll get into it, but we're all very thankful for the opportunity that we had at Sports Ethos. Nothing but great things to say there. And obviously met Shane O'Mac through that experience, and are going to be a lot better for it. Season 2, I think we're going to be able to produce a lot better quality content and like the way that we want to do everything, and not have to think about, anything else. But anyways.
Yeah. And then we're also going to be plugging our Instagram, our the YouTube we just talked about, TikTok channel. We're going to be on all forms of media for you guys to check us out and consume the content whichever way you want to. So be on the looks out for that. Other than that, did I miss anything?
No, super exciting. I think let's just kind of get into it and go through some takeaways, what we learned in season 1 and kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah, I feel like this season has shown us a lot. And as we
went from doing nothing at all, zero content creation, zero followers on Twitter. I think Shane O'Mac is in the same boat. Like, this was your first year doing fantasy content. Yep. Is that right?
Yep, it was.
Yeah.
So I just feel like this season really taught us a lot. So we're going to dive right into it. It wouldn't be a brand new episode without Shane kicking it off for us. So Shane, why don't you go ahead and kick it off for us and let us know what's your first thing that you learned from this season that you want to bring into next season?
Yeah, I think for me it was, and I was guilty of making this mistake early on, but you got to spin that fab early in the season. I missed out on a lot of kind of potential league winners in those first 6 weeks because I did not make the commitment of fab that I should have. So when you're talking about Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, Puka was the biggest one I thought I really missed out on. A-Chain had his stretch. Even Laporta in a lot of leagues was available on fab.
McBride.
Oh, always.
I just early on, like the first 6 weeks, I didn't spend enough. I had it. I was like, oh, don't waste 70% of that now. And I think that was my biggest takeaway. I should have more confidence in my ability to pluck out guys later if I'm low on fab.
Yeah, that is the number one thing on my list as well. It's the best way to spend your fab is to dump it immediately on impact players. Like Kulz, you talked about it, dude. Kyron Williams, when that week came out, and you're like, I'm spending it all. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And turns out that would have been the best thing you could have done this entire fantasy season.
The other, so we're going to talk about two of my wins early on, which there's plenty of losses, but the other one was the A chain.
Highlight the win.
Yeah, the other was the A chain. So I was extremely right about Kyron and then extremely right about A chain. Remember, it was literally that week he popped off. And then I even in that same take, I said, and then when he does pop off, sell him. And my reasoning was for him to be because he's a Texas A&M Aggie, but because of his injury, he's a smaller guy. Like, so I just thought like the hype around him. But anyways, those were the two that I definitely hit on. But for Kyron and me, like I watched that game, and I think Cam Akers had like 20 something carries, but they were all garbage time, like 2-yard runs. And I was like, man, Kyron looks good. And I know what a McVay running back does production wise. Like, I would rather just cut my losses. You got to remove all bias, right? Like, we were high on Akers, but more so we were high on that position, right? Running back for the Rams. So I just knew like, it's okay to be wrong. Cut your ties. You want Kyron. You know what I mean? Like, that's how do you plug for your mistake, your 6th round Akers draft pick swing and miss, is by getting that guy. And obviously I could have never expected him to be top 3 running back. I don't know what he finished. Yeah. Top 3 running back, whatever he finished at. But yeah, that's Shane O'Mac. That's any league that I typically do. And I don't typically do fab, but like same in fantasy basketball. I'm in one league, which will probably be my last year ever doing it because I haven't paid attention at all. But it was always like early on, there's going to be guys out there and you got to like be very active. And it's same with fab. You're right. Like, people will hang on to it, which is a good strategy. You want it at the end of the season. You can control a lot that way, but you're not going to get, I feel like the days of the NFL where a big running back injury would happen and then that guy comes available and it's a swarm on waivers, that's died a little bit because the NFL has shifted to multiple running backs being relevant. So there's not as many of those guys on the wire, like Swift and Jamal Williams last year in Detroit. Like, there's so many running back by committees with maybe a scat back who catches 5 balls. There's value there. So he's already on a roster. So I feel like that kind of goes away a little bit and there's a limited amount of those players, but I don't know. I just talked for a while.
It's all good. It's not a new season without Kulz going on a rant, I'll go ahead and talk about
that. Made sense at least, right?
No, it did. It absolutely everything it made sense. I was following along. You're good.
Okay.
One of the things that I'm learning from this season, taking to the next, is I am no longer going to hear people call certain players injury prone. Injury prone is out of the window for me. I'm not listening to it anymore. Injuries are so sporadic and they can happen to anybody at any time. We talked about Mostert early on in the season. The reason why Kulz and I were drafting Jeff Wilson a lot is because of the age, and people said that he was injury prone. Christian McCaffrey, injury prone. There's a lot of players that had that designation that, didn't get injured this year. I don't have a list of them on hand, but I know there's a lot. So I'm not going to entertain that tidbit anymore. Injury prone. Not a thing.
So it's because we highlighted a couple of wins early on. Let's highlight a big miss, and that was we were all over the Dolphins running back room in the wrong places. Like, we should have been splitting our bets there, right? Like, don't go all in on Wilson. I think our underdog share was like pretty significant. He was like a top 4 or 5 guy that we had owned, maybe even more than that. If it's a role where we aren't sure and there's 2 backs that have produced for McDaniel like those 2, split our bets, right? Like, half of our entries would have been absolute home runs with with Mostert there. So yeah, that's a great one.
Mm-hmm.
Kulz, what do you got?
I actually took, in very Kulz fashion, I took this completely. I took this completely different. Well, I guess there's no wrong way. There's no wrong way to do something, but
no.
Take away from season 1, what I learned, I was more so speaking of like being in the content game and producing fantasy stuff.
No, this is strictly fantasy football. Like, what do we learn fantasy wise?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about that because I took it a different way.
Okay, well, Shane, we'll kick it to you. What's the next thing on your list, buddy?
Yeah, this one got me too this year because I dropped a couple of these guys, and you've got to be patient with the rookies. And there was 2 guys that I drafted Rashee Rice late in a lot of drafts, but then I dropped him in a couple of leagues. I did the same thing with Stroud at the beginning of the year. I had dropped him for some other guys that popped early in the year. But if you look at like Rashee Rice and Stroud and Tank Dell and Jordan Addison and Dalton Kincaid, even though Kincaid started off slow, I mean, he had that like 5 or 6 week stretch where he was a top 3 tight end. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, another guy who just, if you would have stayed patient, I think the last 6 weeks he was probably a top 5 running back.
Yeah, he was.
So you just got to hold on and be patient for those guys.
Yeah, and patience is a virtue when it comes to fantasy football, man. People get very impatient week by week. You only have a certain amount of roster spots. So you feel that if someone's not producing immediately, there's no room for them on your bench. So it's tough. That's very, very tough to be patient with someone like, even Jaden Reed. You know what I mean? Like someone like that, we ended up dropping and probably needed him for a keeper league that we got going on. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, and that kind of goes.
Yeah, I wonder what happened there. That was a weird one. I don't know when that drop happened because I think week 2 he had 19 points. So I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, but no, Shane, that kind of feeds into what I was going to say here is take a chance on rookie wide receivers. It's been, and this isn't something we just learned this year. This is something that's kind of been building ever since, the Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Rookie wide receivers have an impact pretty much right away. We saw Jordan Addison have a great season. We saw Puka Nacua. Obviously, he wasn't really drafted much, but, Rashee Rice. A lot of these rookie wide receivers that you can draft late can have a major impact. So take a chance on them later on in drafts. I'm going to be looking forward to that this year, especially with this really, really strong rookie wide receiver draft class coming in this next year. But yeah, rookie wide receivers, take a chance on a couple of them for sure. That's definitely what I'll be doing next year.
Yeah. That's what I don't know if I'm cutting anyone off because I've just got a little choppy feed, but that's what I was going to highlight is that this incoming class is outstanding. And we'll get into that, I think, in our 3rd episode of season 2. We're going to do our rookie rankings, but I mean, you have obviously Marvin Harrison's going to transcend that position. Like they're saying his player comp is Calvin Johnson, like unreal, right? Then you have Adunze, Neighbors, Brian Thomas, the other wide receiver from LSU, which I need to do a little bit more film on, which sounds ridiculous because I obviously watched every LSU game, but I didn't look at Brian Thomas as a 1st-round wide receiver, and apparently he's like potentially going to go in the top 15, which is insane to me. But I got to do a little bit more talent evaluation there. But you have, Keon Coleman is thought of as a further back in the top 10. In preseason, I had him as like number 2 behind Marvin Harrison. I thought he was outstanding. So very interested to see where those guys all land. But it's just passing in general. It's such a pass-friendly league now. Tight ends, as we saw, the whole knock of rookie tight ends not performing. the league's never highlighted the tight end in the passing game as much as they have now, right?
No.
So that to me is what I was preaching all preseason, and just because it hadn't happened yet, you heard that whole narrative getting pounded by some analysts, but that should go away. There's JT Sanders and Brock Bowers are coming out this year. Those are two guys who are going to step in and perform right away as rookies. They're just so talented, but yeah, rookie wide receivers. I can definitely co-sign that.
Yeah. Kulz, did you think of any yet, or you still need some time?
No, I'm not going to think of any.
Okay. Well, why don't you give us
I couldn't. Like I could if you want me to, but I would be so checked out from the episode.
No, hey, Truck, we will provide it, and Kulz will come in with the color commentary on it.
I love it. I love that idea. Kulz,
I'll think of something, but it's one of those things, dude.
Give me what you had prepared. What was something you learned from content creating that you take into the next season? How about that?
I was gonna say like just about the community in general, the like Twitter community and the fantasy football community, I thought was extremely like welcoming in that, like, we had Mendelson, Bogman, Jesse Morse, like guys like that who are, Jesse Morse was on Pat McAfee's show, right? Like he doesn't have, like, he's got a good amount of followers and was just so like, just nice about wanting to come on. And, so I thought that was really cool how doesn't seem to be very cliquey, and that everyone's just like so in love with fantasy sports that they just want to talk ball with everyone is kind of how it felt. So I thought that was really cool. One of my main takeaways. So I don't know. That's kind of where I went with it more so than in league type of things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This community definitely welcomed us with open arms for sure.
Yeah, I learned that I am a best ball player. I don't like season-long redraft leagues. I'm going to shrink the amount that I'm in significantly. I'm a best ball guy, and I played Guillotine for the first time this year. Guillotine was an outstanding format. I'll be in as many Guillotine leagues as I can find, or at least a few. I'd like to be in like a high stakes Guillotine league and then just kind of introducing other people to that format. I know we want to do listener leagues. We'll talk about that in a second, but Guillotine was outstanding. I love best ball. I want to do a best ball redraft league because I think that would be even better, to where you're managing a roster, but you don't have to necessarily kill yourself when Shane O'Mac at the end of the week sees a little bit of wind in Foxborough and sits all players in that game. Yeah. I just love best ball. I think it's as much luck you can take away from it and have skill really shine through. That's my fantasy sports. I want as much skill based as possible.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
I don't know. That's more about like what I learned about what I like personally.
Shane, what do you got?
So the other thing I had noticed was like, and I didn't really go into it with the strategy this year, but it stood out throughout the year. Like when you're drafting players, like it seems like it should be obvious, but target those good offenses as a whole that have a good, also got play calling, but also at least a good facilitator type quarterback on that offense. So if you look at the Dolphins, look at all of those top options they had: Mostert, A-Chain, Tyreek, and then you got obviously the 49ers with all of theirs. But then you had like the Lions produced like Gibbs and Monty and Goff and Laporta and St. Brown. And the Rams also had top 20 guys, and the Texans had top 20 guys. All of them had really good offenses, at least a very adequate, good quarterback. We thought people like Washington had good offenses in Atlanta, but the problem was the quarterback component of it really stunk. So that stood out to me. I didn't take that into account.
Quarterback or coach?
Well, both. And so, like, the example I think of is I had a ton of Bijan Robinson exposure, and I just didn't take into account the quarterback mess that was there. I thought he could overcome it. And then obviously the coaching mess.
Yeah. The talent was evident, right? So Dynasty, there's less of that, but for sure in redraft, talent is dependent a lot on situation. So some of that you can't control, some's injury, but I completely agree. Like, there are definitely some takes that I made that where I'm like, why did I think that? Let's see here. I'll have to come back on a specific example, but Jamal Williams, like, why did I expect him to step in and have a touchdown role, kind of like what he had in Detroit?
Yeah.
Why do I think that he was just going to have that same role? You know, things like that. Obviously he was banged up and whatever, but like, Kamara's the guy there. Of course, if Kamara's running well, he's great at the goal line. They're not going to just give Jamal the that role because he had, 17 touchdowns or whatever it was the year before.
Yeah.
Just being confident in your takes too. I mean, fading Tank Bigsby when the entire industry is saying like, oh, this guy's named Tank, he's going to be an awesome running back. Draft him everywhere you can. That's just important to stand behind your takes. And like, we faded him completely in best ball. And that was, one of the reasons why we had a lot of success.
Yeah, absolutely. My next
quarterback injuries.
Well, yeah, that was going to be one of my other ones.
Like, did we learn anything about quarterback injuries? Or
well, for me, I'll speak on this real quick. This was the year of the backup quarterback.
Why was that such a what's happening that quarterbacks?
I don't know. I think this was an anomaly. That's what I'll chalk it up as.
I hope so.
I just think it's something we haven't seen in many, many years, if ever. With the quarterback position getting hit this much this season. But going into next season, just, if you're in a regular redraft league, don't just draft one quarterback. Take a shot on someone later on just to put them on your roster just in case anything happened. And then realistically, man, I know we were all over Josh Allen early. We drafted Josh Allen in the second or third round.
Wouldn't change that. I'm going to do the same exact thing next year.
Yeah, exactly. But I know a lot of people might be worried or might be changing their strategy as to not draft an early quarterback.
Good.
And I think that's a wrong. Well, I'm telling our roadies out there that don't fall into that trap. Like,
no, y'all don't draft. Keep Josh Allen for us.
Drafting Josh Allen was a great thing. Jalen Hurts was awesome this year. Really, the only one that really took a hit was Patrick Mahomes. But realistically, he still had a decent season. So, don't be afraid to draft that quarterback early, and draft them to me ahead of this is like a two-parter is the wide receiver 2, the high-end wide receiver 2s did not pan out. Devonta Smith, T. Higgins, help me out here. Jalen Waddle. You know what I mean? These guys are not in the same tier as that second tier wide receivers like Amon-Ra St. Brown. All those other guys, CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, these guys are so much better than their counterparts that, they don't deserve to be drafted in that round. So I'm going to be taking that into next season. I'll be avoiding those wide receiver 2s, those high end wide receiver 2s, and I'll be grabbing my that star-studded quarterback instead, or tight end, whoever it is. So
Hurts did remain very good with how bad of a team they were.
Yes.
What is this? Second year in a row? Hurts and Allen were top 3. So for Allen, he's been, I think, 4 or 5 years in a row.
Forever.
It's been about 4 or 5 years for sure.
So let's talk about that. How does your quarterback strategy change going into next year? Because for me, I'm gonna be drafting Josh Allen every single league at the 2-3 turn, just like I have been for the last few years. I just think you just can't swing and miss in those rounds, and you're not going to with Josh Allen. Like, who cares if he throws 2 picks? Like, that offense is Josh Allen. They are a high-powered offense that, like, I'm not going to go for Diggs, like, I still think there's different pieces that you can get in the offense, but it's not like we're going to force feed Diggs like CeeDee Lamb gets in for the Dallas. Like, it's all about Josh Allen, and however he can get the ball in the end zone, that's what the offense is based around. Like, so yeah, I think my strategy going into next year is get Josh Allen at that turn. If not, if he gets taken, then I'm probably waiting. It'll be interesting to see like where a Stroud goes. But I'm probably waiting and taking someone late, like Trevor Lawrence is probably going to go undrafted or something like that,
Yeah, I mean, for me, my strategy next year is I want a quarterback in the first 5 rounds. I want a quarterback, one of those elite quarterbacks. I want one of them on my team. I think they're a difference maker, and I'm not afraid of all the injuries that happened this year. I don't think it's going to happen again. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Shane,
yeah, and I'm gonna be, I'm not gonna be afraid. Also, I think the other thing with quarterbacks, I notice, like, if you're taking, I like what you said, Truck, about taking a second one, and I am gonna be, I'm gonna lean, and I won't mind taking a rookie second one either. So if Anthony Richardson had not gotten hurt this year, and it wasn't a lower leg injury, it was a shoulder, but he was getting ready to explode and be what Stroud ended up being. I could see that happening this year with like a Jaden Daniels, perhaps, or, somebody that can make things happen with their legs, depending on where they go, obviously. But I think there could be 1 or 2 of those rookies. This is what the best quarterback rookie class we've had in a while.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Those dual threat quarterbacks are legit this year. So target those next year. Yep. Shane, do you got anything else on your list?
No, we touched. I was trying to talk about the dual threat and the quarterbacks. Same thing. I'm kind of like you. Like, I don't think we're going to be able to predict like quarterback 5 through 10. So I'm not going to put much credence into Jordan Love and say, oh, for sure he'll be QB5 next year on my board, or Goff or Baker Mayfield. He's QB8. I don't. It's hard for me to see that happening again next year. I think I'll probably be tilting back to the Justin Herberts and the Trevor Lawrences even. So,
but you're right. You're right in that. Like, that's how you succeed in fantasy football, for sure, on the best ball side, but also redraft. Like, there's going to be another Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that we thought were going to be in the bottom and end up being, like, perfect example is, we were very high on Nico Collins. And I don't know what the instinct on how lucky we got with Jerome Ford, but that was another guy that, like, all over Jerome Ford and Nico Collins. That was an industry looking at like a Texans team that they're just going to be the same old Texans, and there's not going to be many production out of that offense, and they're in the playoffs. So there's teams that surprise. Same thing with Jordan Love. We were all over Jordan Love. I love Jaden Reed, a little bit of Romeo Dobbs in there, but obviously Reed is going to be the big player moving forward. But taking those bets and making a hard stance on guys you can get late, but making sure you just ride that home. Like, you're not – Jordan Love probably went undrafted in most leagues. I think the only time I probably looked at him late would be for like a keeper league. But, I thought he's a legitimate good quarterback, ended up coming true. I should have drafted him in the last round of every single keeper league that I'm in, those kind of stances, just staying true to them. If you have a strong instinct on something, then like stay true to it throughout and make sure they're reflected in every team of yours. Yeah. It could change things completely,
Oh, absolutely. I got a couple more things on my list that I just want to talk about real quick, and it's trust the talent, and this kind of goes in two different aspects of what I want to talk about. Players that get suspended or have a minor injury that are very talented and have a draft discount, take a chance on them. We saw what Alvin Kamara did this year. He was suspended, and he's crazy talented. We all know that, and I'm mad that I didn't draft him in almost every league, and that goes for a lot of players that end up in that situation, that either suspended or minor injury and have a discount on their draft capital. So, and then that goes into another part of it where talent is a better metric than situation. So, like players that had a really good situation this year, someone that we were very down on was Alexander Madison.
Wait, we're contradicting ourselves though. Talent is because earlier we literally just said about Shane O'Mac getting Bijan Robinson that don't always go straight talent and consider the situation because he got burned on Bijan.
Yes, he got burned on Bijan because of the numbnuts for
the situation
over there. Yes. However, generally speaking, for me, if there's players in the same pool and there's someone that has a really good situation, but I don't think they're as talented as someone else with a worse situation, I'm going with the talent as opposed to that situation. That's just
if someone's totally dog shit, like let's say Miles Sanders, Alexander Madison are probably the two best that come to mind there. Yeah. They're in great situations, but like watch some tape. Neither of them are good. For sure. 100%. That goes back to just like sticking to your guns and like having a strong stance. Like when someone's on your do not draft list, do not fucking draft them. You did it with fucking Dameon Pierce right at the end of the league. You're like, you literally you slacked us and you're like, I just drafted Dameon Pierce. I have no idea why I just did that.
Yeah, that was a bad move, but turns out he was someone that you did not want to draft. So
stick to your guns.
Win for me. Absolutely. Stick to your guns.
Probably my biggest thing is stick to your guns. You always hear me say it. It's because like trust your rankings. There's a reason why you put all this work into your rankings. If you have someone on your do not draft list, don't fucking draft them.
Yep, absolutely. Amen. But yeah, I think that about covers the things that we learned from the 2023 season that we're going to be taking into us with next season. And now we're just going to kind of cover some groundwork for what's to come from the Fantasy Roadshow, what to expect, and so forth. Kulz, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, just to wrap that up, do we think that Taylor Swift is going to have a fantasy team next year?
I wouldn't doubt it, but I probably not.
Okay. So heading into season 2, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, kind of stuff to expect for this off season. What you can expect from the Fantasy Roadshow.
Yeah, I'm interested. Well, when are we going to talk about coaching after this? Because I want to talk about coaches as well.
Yeah, let's just cover what to expect from
for next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
For this off season, not for next year.
For just the off season.
Yeah, just off season content over the next couple months. This is kind of what we're laying out for the people.
All right. Episode 2, season 2 is going to be way too early 2024 rankings. Honestly, like this is just a good way to have and I suggest like listeners, roadies, you do this as well. It's just a good way to like, as this season's still fresh on your brain, make a outline of what you're going to be starting at. Like once we make our rankings, we're not going to touch them until we add rookies into them after the draft. And then as season goes on and things happen, like as off season goes on, we're going to be, tweaking things with player news, free agency news, that kind of thing. So this is a very good practice to, while everything's fresh, get an outline going, and then you have a lot to work with when the time comes. So that is going to be episode 2, way too early 2024 rankings. And then 3 will be rookie rankings. And then, from there, like, I think we're going to be talking about the playoffs each week, like in those episodes, but different content that we're going to bring out. I mean, free agency news, I think we'll be all over that. We'll do, one episode on free agency. This is, I already sent a graphic in our Slack channel, but, we can go over, these are the players that are going to be free agents. This is the impact on their current team. For example, Derrick Henry, like Tyjae Spears gets a bump. Where he lands is going to determine his fantasy value next year. So I think that's going to be an episode that we can probably have some really valuable content made out of. I don't know what else to say in terms of like pre-draft things. We're going to come
Yeah, just to build off that, we're going to be re-diving into Dynasty as well.
Yeah. Right.
So we'll after our regular way too early redraft rankings, we'll be going into Dynasty and kind of like a Dynasty update on certain players. I know we did this last offseason, we did a very hefty amount of player profiles for Dynasty and kind of their age, situation, how we see their outlook going. So expect something like that. I would
Dynasty. Love to do that. If we could come up with player profiles and do that, I would nerd out on that so hard. If we can come up with like a skeleton, age, it's plug and play once you have it all.
Absolutely.
Once you have the image mapped out, I would love to do that. We should 100%.
We're definitely going to do that. I think that's a great idea. So expect that. And then
take note.
Yeah, absolutely. And then once draft season kicks off, Kulz will be doing a underdog draft every single day from from after the NFL draft all the way until the kickoff for the regular season. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm gonna crush underdog drafts this year. As I mentioned before, like I think I had 13 leagues, 11 leagues, whatever it ended up being this year. I'm going to shrink that down. I'm going to hammer underdog in the off season, and then be really focused on that. I'd love to even do weekly stuff, where I create a weekly rankings and then I'm drafting teams every single week. I'd love to be involved that way as well. But preseason from NFL, from rookie draft, when Best Ball Mania opens to the end of the season or the end of the tournament, when it all fills, I'm going to do one a day guaranteed. That's a promise. I'll do it live, probably on YouTube. I'll have to talk to Truck. He's the brains behind that, but we'd probably be able to just go live and do the live draft. So that'll be on the radar. It's gonna be super fun. And then I want to do spin-off content with that too, to where do the draft live and then do like a quick rundown of each pick and why I made the pick, and then short that on YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reel, TikTok. It'll be really fun.
We will be flooding the market with underdog shorts at that point of the season. But I encourage all the roadies out there, if you don't know what underdog is, get familiar with it. It's a great tool to make some money throughout the season and kind of have some fun. Kulz and I we ended up doing 40 teams last year, and I know we didn't really give a status update as to what happened towards the end of the season, but we ended up being very successful with a few teams. One team in particular made it all the way to the second round of the playoffs. We got real close, but ultimately fell short. So
yeah, we made money. We're very much in the green, so that was good. I also want to say, as we're young and growing, and there's time for this. If there's any roadies that want to get involved in underdog, I will do a draft with you, sit in the passenger seat, and you can pick my brain during the draft. And just, if you want to get involved, it's super fun. I'll make myself available for as much as while we're young and have time to do that. Because that's how much I love it. I fucking love it. So if there's roadies out there that want to be involved and want me to kind of sit passenger seat and navigate through a draft room with them, I live for draft rooms.
Yeah, best part of the fantasy football season is drafting, for sure.
Yeah, I'm also going to commit to a 24-hour straight stream at some point during the off season. I'll make sure it's on a weekend, and maybe I even do like I don't know. I'll think of something cool for how to do that, just so that I can sit here for 24 hours and I don't have to break to make food or anything. So whether I don't know. I'll think about
that is going to be something to watch.
Just a full stack of Rule 1 protein bars surrounding you.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get something. That's a great point with Rule 1 for sure. Which actually is a good segue into Rule 1 in our sponsorship. I mean, that was a huge win to have of such a legit, awesome sponsor, and how, year one and how supportive they were. So that continue on season 2. We'll probably get more involved with them now that we're on our own. It was always kind of a little dicey. Like, all right, if we start monetizing with the sponsor, how do we get,
how does that work? Yeah.
How does that work? We're better off just on our own. Right. So we've, built that relationship on our own. So like, why, whatever, we don't need to get into the business side of things, but that's just going to grow. I think we're going to put our creative minds together and come up with like stupid little commercials, maybe video show. We're going to get fun. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. I know when I talked, when Tony and I were reviewing the numbers, they were really high. The conversion rate was extremely high from our views to orders. So that was, he was blown away by that.
And that's a big thanks to all the roadies out there for using the promo code, taking advantage of that 40% off site wide. There's a lot of great stuff on there. So thank you for everybody that dove in and checked them out, and be sure to keep ordering. It's some good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's like, thanks to everyone. They're a great product. They're honestly the best period in the market. So, I think a lot of that too is the way that the supplement industry works. It's very competitive and flooded in the bodybuilding space, in that like, that's how they market a lot of things. So for us to come into a completely different industry with people that of all walks of life, but definitely athletes, ex-athletes, people who, who appreciate fitness, sports, I think there is definitely a market there, and we kind of opened, Tony's eyes and the Rule 1 team's eyes to that. And I mean, like Truck said, it's a great product. We're gonna do a lot with it, so it's fun. We should have a link here for season 2 to where instead of us just saying visit Rule 1 and enter a promo code, we can post out a link that'll bring you to the website, and you can just go from there. And that way we'll be able to track some information, and it's next step of the partnership. So it's super exciting. And thanks to Rule 1 and all the roadies.
Absolutely. And then also be on the lookout. We will be launching listener leagues this next season.
Yes.
We're going to be doing a listener league, a dynasty league. We're going to be doing a redraft league. We're
so
going to be
excited.
Doing a guillotine league. We are going all out. We have a pick'em league. We're going to have a, you name
let's
it.
Talk. Let's actually talk about it. So,
okay. All right, let's do it.
Dynasty. I think we want to commit to one dynasty league, at least a very this is going to be a very people are only going to have a team once we vet them and we know that they're wanting to play dynasty, right?
Yes.
Transactions, just, being GMs of teams, a true GM role, not just draft and plug a roster on Sunday, true GMs. We're going to have, committed, passionate people about dynasty. That will be really fun. One dynasty listener league. Guillotine, we'll get into the different formats, but I think we for sure do a guillotine league. The best ball redraft league. That it would basically, it's just going to be what I think would be the coolest league. I think a best ball redraft league would be really cool. So that for sure. What else do you think? Do you think we do a keeper redraft league, just a standard keeper redraft, or
Just a standard redraft.
Standard redraft.
Yeah, just standard redraft. Yeah.
Okay. Standard redraft league. So there's 4. And we don't all necessarily all need to be involved in that in each one. So like I will for sure commit to Dynasty Guillotine and redraft best ball. I'll probably let, you guys both or Shane spearhead the standard league. We should obviously for sure have one. We'll do the pick'em again. And we'll have a little bit of a conversation on how to make that better and keep people engaged. But
what about a Survivor?
Survivor, 100%, definitely a Survivor league.
Yeah.
And I think we do. That's probably good. We don't want to flood the market too much with shit, but we definitely want.
After Kulz talks about minimizing however many leagues he's in, we're just but I'm
only going to be in 3. So I pick them in Survivor. I may not even I'll do the pick 'em, but
yeah,
I'm like so involved in Super Contest, and that's a whole different. I can't taint my brain with pick 'em when I'm doing Super Contest. So
yeah, it's tough.
I may not even really be involved that much in that. That's a whole different conversation. I don't even know if I'll produce that content on Fantasy Roadshow. We got to figure that out too, because a lot of my like Super Contest stuff is not really fantasy relevant. So I'm definitely going to blast it out with Kulz Sports. I probably will. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when it comes.
We'll talk about it. Yeah.
I'll be, very active in the Circa Super Contest next year. So that'll be fun, and there'll be content spinning off of that. But so the listener leagues, I think we do an episode. You know how like this week or this year, how we did red light, green light, obviously staying. Waivers, we'll get better at doing waivers, and that will be a staple. One of the days of the week, I think, listener league recaps is.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, so that'll be one of the days, and we're going to be like making sure that not only those leagues are very active and fun, and people that love fantasy are involved, but we produce content as the season goes on so that they're fun that way as well.
Yeah. Definitely. So yeah, that's kind of what to expect from the Fantasy Roadshow here. This, the beginning of this next season, we are not stopping. This is going to be year round. We will be producing 1 episode a week during the off season, and then once draft season kicks off, you know what time it is.
Crazy.
It is 2-a-days. Yeah. We will be doing 2 episodes a day live on YouTube, covering all sorts of different content. Stay tuned. Make sure you follow us on Substack. thefantasyroadshow.substack.com. You're going to have written articles for every episode hit to your email. What else do we have to plug, Kulz? Am I forgetting anything?
No, Substack's going to be huge. Shane O'Mac does a lot of great work. That's going to all be involved. We're going to be releasing written content with I love blogging and writing. In general, I know Shane O'Mac's extremely strong at it as well. So
I'm glad you guys are, because I am a terrible writer.
Don't expect Truck to be posting any articles.
That would not go well.
We were talking earlier with a good buddy of ours, and he was saying how he's playing Scrabble with his wife tonight, and Truck was like, yeah, I wouldn't be very good at Scrabble.
I stick to 3-letter words: bag, cat, dog. I can't expand anything other than that. So I never do well in Scrabble.
Yeah, but credit to you. You do a lot of the production behind the scenes, and will be heavily involved in the video production and the audio quality of the podcast. So all of that, I wouldn't. I can hardly even keep my mic on, or
without it spazzing out. Which
you haven't knocked down the light yet.
Yeah, no,
I don't even have it up.
On the light. Oh, you don't.
I don't know how to do it. I just gave up.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Well, I think that about does it for our season 2, episode 1.
Wait, let's talk coaching real quick.
Oh, of course. Yeah, we have some updates, some news and notes coming around the league that we feel that need to be covered. Here's Kulz with the light. Just don't knock it down, buddy. So I know this isn't NFL, but Nick Saban retired. How insane
Nick
is
Saban?
Like
that was crazy.
That was a big one.
Of college coaching has retired. I couldn't believe it when I saw it come through. I thought it was some kind of joke, and turns out it's not. It's hard to wrap your mind around. Shane, do you have anything about that?
No, I want to. I would ask Kulz.
Give me the mic. Yeah,
Kulz is the college.
Go ahead,
guy.
SEC Kulz.
Wait, Kulz, before you talk, I want to hear from you the top 2 candidates that are going to replace him.
Lane Kiffin would be my choice.
Okay.
But
that makes a lot of sense.
Probably be like Kiffin and then Lanning for Oregon.
Oh, that's interesting.
Young, good.
Yeah.
I would say those 2. I mean, like, who else? Like, Urban Meyer's not obviously going to come back.
I doubt it.
I would do Kiffin because I think he's super exciting, and what he's done with Ole Miss is he's just a little edgy, and I don't know if they're going to go an edgy route. Like, Kiffin's a strong personality. There's risk there. He's behaved himself at Ole Miss and has built an awesome winning program. I would go Kiffin. I wanted Kiffin instead of Brian Kelly. I'm not mad at Brian Kelly. I think he's an incredible coach. I just think Kiffin's young, and he has got balls, and you need balls to compete with Saban is what I used to say, but he's gone. So holy shit.
Big shoes to fill.
In terms of reaction, like I haven't processed it yet.
Yeah.
Because it's always we've been the little brother to Saban since I've been an LSU fan, since I've obviously always been an SEC fan because it's college football. It's the biggest part of college football.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to say yet. Like, holy shit, I almost don't believe it, right?
Kulz, I got a question for you, just totally random. SEC football next year. Texas versus LSU. Who are you rooting for?
They're not in it. Always LSU against Texas, but I do genuinely love Texas. And I think I say things that piss off a lot of my friends at LSU. And like,
no,
I love
really
the reason why I've always said I loved Alabama, and that would piss off my friends at LSU. But one of the reasons why I love Texas, and I love Texas in the NIL world, is because why would you not want to go to University of Texas? Like, they're going to give you the most money, the most opportunity with the oil and gas, the whole Texas football. Like, it's just so much bigger here that you're going to get treated like a king, and you're going to have all of the resources and the best of the best now playing in the best conference. So to me, like, with the boosters and the whole situation down here in Texas and in Austin, now you have Collective, this workout facility that an ex football player for UT and guy out of Iowa, whatever. We don't need to go into that, but it's one of the biggest speed training off-season speed training facilities now. So I know my buddy who put in the furniture there. He said he went in to do a cold plunge one day, and in the like turf area, there was a DJ, CJ Stroud, throwing the ball to Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, like guys like speed training in the off season. So Bijan. So you have outlets like that now in Austin, where it all used to be West Coast, LA, Arizona, but that's another reason. Like, so I just think they're going to be such a powerhouse that I love that I get to go to the games, and they're an incredible program. It's the most iconic program in my mind in college football. So it's Mecca in my mind.
Yeah.
But
I just thought that was interesting because I know how much you love LSU and how much you love Texas.
For sure, LSU.
They're in the same conference, right? So
yeah, it has to be LSU, obviously, but when they go head to head, but that doesn't.
All right. Well, how about another coach that is no longer coaching at their respectful team, Pete Carroll.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Carroll was huge. Vrabel was huge.
Shocker, though.
I feel like Pete Carroll was a bigger deal than Vrabel just because of how long he's been there, won Super Bowls. Pete Carroll is one of the only coaches that has also won a national championship in college and a Super Bowl in the NFL. And now he's out as the coach. He may stay with the team in some respective format.
Who else has done that
word on the street?
By the way, who else has done Super Bowl?
Jimmy.
Okay.
Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Miami and
Dallas.
Miami.
Dallas,
Yes. Yeah,
Dallas.
You're right. Yeah. He was the coach of Miami.
So Vermeil, wasn't he down there in Miami?
No, Vermeil was not as big of. He was UCLA.
Oh yeah. But yeah, and then Mike Vrabel too. Mike Vrabel is out as the Titans head coach, which didn't make sense to me, man. Vrabel is such a good coach, and he is, if Harbaugh stays in Michigan, I feel like Vrabel is going to be the number one prospect for coaching coming to whichever team. Will that be the Patriots if Bill Belichick steps down? The Panthers, their owner has a ton of money that he's going to be throwing at someone to come in there. So I don't know, man. It didn't make much sense to me. Why would you get rid of Vrabel?
There's another. Sorry, completely off topic. There's another one who is a Cowboy coach.
Barry Switzer.
Yeah.
Hey,
Barry Switzer. It's Switzer, Jimmy, and Pete Carroll.
Cool. All right.
Yep.
But yeah, what do you guys think
were
about
talking
Vrabel?
Yeah, Vrabel's crazy. I think he's the best coach in the league, or at least top 3 coach in the league. And like, if we're talking like, obviously Belichick could be on that list, but like, he's getting old. Vrabel's young, and I think he's incredible.
Belichick had 13 losses this season?
Yeah, but I mean,
I think, the deal with Vrabel in Tennessee, why did they falter? It was like
so stupid.
It wasn't Vrabel's fault that they traded A.J. Brown. It wasn't Vrabel's fault that they drafted Malik Davis and then Will Levis. I mean, it was more personnel decisions that doomed that team.
Yeah, that was really bad. I don't know. I think he, even like after a huge win against the Jaguars in a game that they did not need to win, they played awesome Titans football and very well coached game. Outcoached the shit out of Doug. So I don't know. That's a really bad. He's gonna step in. Like, that's why I wanted. Let's talk Bears in a second, but like a team like the Bears who just don't have a culture and are just a shit show. Look at the culture that Vrabel has set. You know what I mean? Like,
I would kill to have Vrabel as the Bears head coach. Just want to throw that out there. Okay. The Bears announced the other day they are firing everybody except Eberflus.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? Let's get the Bears. Well, I guess I want your real take too, but
here's my real take. And I don't dislike Eberflus. Okay. I don't think he's a great coach. I will say that, but I don't dislike him. Once he took over the defensive play calling, our defense was far better than it was prior to that. So, he knows what he's doing, and what the Bears were able to do later on in the season speaks volumes to him as a coach. So I will say that. Would I have liked a new coach next year? Yes. Am I okay with I know. Am I okay with Eberflus this next season? I am. I'm still going to ride with him. Whatever decision they may choose to, whether it's keep Fields, trade Fields, draft Caleb, trade away that number 1 pick, whatever it is, I think the Bears will improve next season, regardless of that decision that's made. So I'm riding with it. I'm excited to see who we can bring in as an offensive coordinator. I think that's going to be a huge impact on this offense as a whole. So, am I thrilled? No. But am I mad? No. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm kind of right in the middle with the Bears right now.
Yeah, here's my take. I think it's a horrible decision.
Yeah.
I think they've made this mistake twice already. It was Trestman, Nagy, and now Eberflus.
Mm-hmm.
And each time they kept them after a horrible season, drafted a new quarterback, fired them the next season. So like, you're just repeating that a third time. If Eberflus does not perform next year, regardless if it's Fields or Caleb, if he doesn't perform next year, he's gone. So like,
yeah,
you're
but
making
this
the same mistake a third time. I feel like
this Eberflus keeping Eberflus makes me feel like they are going to
keeping
keep Fields.
I agree.
If they were to just bring in a new head coach, that would be a surefire thing for, hey, we're going to draft a new quarterback. We're starting fresh, give you guys a new opportunity. But that's where I think it's going to happen. If I had to put my money on it,
I do too.
So, all right. So here is my whole take. The whole, what do you do with the field situation? I said, fire everyone, draft Caleb. Bring in an offensive-minded head coach, Harbaugh, Ben Johnson, Coach B, with Caleb. You have all the assets. You have your new coach with an offensive-minded quarterback, or with an offensive-minded head coach with the new quarterback. If he is, you sit him down with a team psychiatrist and he passes is this a guy? Is this a mature leader? You have to have the intangibles, the Joe Burrow, the Jalen Hurts, and you have to have those intangibles to be a franchise quarterback, to be at a Mahomes level. Talent he has. So that is the big factor. If he passes those tests, get rid of everyone, Fields, see ya, move forward with Caleb. However, they're also in a situation where if you keep Eberflus and really want to buy in on defensive football, you have to bring in a young-minded offensive coordinator. You're going to have Fields learn his third offense in 4 years, which will stun his growth a little bit. But you can trade that pick, and you have so many assets that you'll still be in a good position. You still will. But, he's learning a new offense. He's got weapons that he has chemistry with, Komet, DJ Moore. But you trade that pick, gain a shit ton of more assets, sell Caleb as the greatest thing on earth. You're trading up into the spot, get a Panthers, more so even Panthers type haul. But I just Eberflus has proven not to be a good head coach. So I think it's the wrong decision, and you're making the same mistake for the third time in a row.
Would you expect anything less from the Bears organization?
No, and that's why I think so keeping Eberflus shows that Fields is the guy, and that's the right move. Get all the assets, but the Bears will fuck it up, and they'll probably get rid of Fields and then bring in Caleb, and then you're going to run Caleb into the ground because you don't have an offensive-minded coach to pair with him.
That's kind of where I'm at. I want to be on record that I think the right decision for the Bears to make is to keep Fields, trade the number 1 overall draft pick, and bring in a haul of players to kind of build a better system around the Bears.
Jalen Johnson.
However, the Bears have been notorious, terrible drafters. There is a long list of bad draft picks the Bears have made. However, as of recently, over the last year or so, a lot of our picks have been panning out. Brisker, Jalen Johnson. There's a lot of players that have been performing rather well. Cole Kmet. So I do think the tide is kind of turning a little bit. I do want to see what we can do with all these draft picks. I want to
the culture. It's the organization. They're just a loser organization that are making the same mistakes time and time again. They're not winners. There's no culture there. It's just that's the issue, is that there's no leader. I mean, unless Warren is stepping in as president and completely changing things, and we just haven't seen it yet. But the Bears don't have an identity as an organization, period.
Yeah, and I think that's going to improve next season. Shane, what do you think? What are your thoughts on there, Shane?
Go pluck for your offensive coordinator. Go pluck somebody from that San Francisco Shanahan tree. So whoever the quarterback coach is at San Francisco or Houston. I mean, we saw Bobby Slowick go to Houston from San Francisco and just turn them around offensively in 1 year. The same thing when McDaniel went to Miami. Pluck somebody from that tree who's a quarterback's coach now. Make him the offensive coordinator.
I completely agree. But that's enough. That's enough.
That we went through
slander.
Yeah, we went through that. Coaching carousel is good. We'll see how everything shakes out. Let's talk real quick. Wild card weekend. I guess let's just go into predictions right away.
Yeah, this is going to be our only episode for the week. So yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk right now. First game, 3:30 Central, Saturday, Browns Texans. Who you guys got?
Browns Texans. I'm going Browns. I feel like this is pretty simple. I think we're all going to agree on this. Joe Flacco is doing some special things with the Cleveland right now, and I think it continues. I think he gets pretty far in the playoffs. I don't think he'll make it to the Super Bowl, but I think they're definitely going to do some damage here in the playoffs, and they're going to win rather easily this week.
Yeah, I got Browns as well. I don't think it's because of Flacco. I think it's because the defense is so fucking good.
Hey, Flacco's been dropping dimes. And
Flacco's been outstanding,
yards.
and he knows how to win. He's a veteran. He's the perfect person for that team right now.
Yeah,
but I think it's the defense that is just star-studded and has been outstanding all year long that gets to a rookie in a huge playoff game. Yeah, they're at home, but dude, I've been in. When I lived in Houston, I went to a few playoff games, and they got destroyed by the Chiefs probably every year, but it's going to happen again here with the Browns. I like them to win pretty easily. Dolphins, Chiefs. It could be the coldest game in the NFL. I don't know history or just this year, but I saw that it was projected to be 0 degrees and could be the coldest game.
Wind chill of -16. I've got a couple of buddies that are going to the game.
Tell us about it, Shane O'Mac.
Yeah, so it is going to be negative degrees at kickoff, and then wind chill of -16 as of now. So,
Miami Dolphins players are not prepared for that type of cold.
I agree. Okay. Chiefs.
I agree too. Like, am I crazy? Tell me if this is a crazy thought. Wouldn't you maybe take that team there like Thursday or Friday?
Oh yeah, take them there as early as possible.
Do some practices outside somewhere. Get them acclimated.
Absolutely. Will they? Who knows? I don't know if they will, but
I'm excited. So yes, I have the Chiefs. Do we all have the Chiefs in that one?
Yeah. I do. Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what. This is a weird talk about just weird thought. I immediately was like, I want to see what McDaniel wears in that weather because he's just so tiny and always has the drip
with his sunglasses on and his
jumpsuit
nice
on.
Shoes.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what his attire is. But
he's got those little capri pants always, that cut off at his calf.
He's just a Miami bro. So I have the Chiefs because of the weather. I don't necessarily. I'm not super high on the Chiefs this year. I think they lose next round probably.
I do too.
But Browns, Chiefs. Those are my two picks as well.
Yep.
Bills, Steelers. I think we all think Bills win that game.
Without a doubt.
No TJ Watt. He's the everything of that team.
Yep.
Packers, Cowboys. I have Cowboys. I think they're going to take care of business against a young offense that, they're really good and are going to be extremely happy with the year in making the playoffs. But the Cowboys are a force right now. So I have Cowboys.
Yeah, that's undeniable. I'll let Shane speak on that in a minute, but yeah, the Cowboys are just a complete force to be reckoned with this offseason. They're on a mission, and that mission is the Super Bowl. We'll see if they get there, but they definitely will get past the Packers this week for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Packers get a couple of their guys back. It looks like they're going to have Watson back, Musgrave back, but Dallas has both of their starting guards back that they didn't have even last week. They get their best run-stopping defensive tackle, Hankins, back. So at home, they're just different. It's a big difference.
Yep.
Yeah. Agreed there. And then this one's interesting. Stafford going back to Ford Field and playing the Detroit Lions. I'll let you guys go first.
Let me take it real quick. This is the game I'm looking forward to the most. I want to watch this game the closest because in incredible Lions fashion, they make it to the playoffs, but Stafford comes back. And I am picking the Rams to win this game. I think Stafford, I don't know if you guys know this, but the Lions ownership made a post to all the Lions fans. They are completely banning Matthew Stafford jerseys from all Lions fans. Lions fans are not allowed to wear Matthew Stafford jerseys in the stadium for this game. And Stafford's wife, she's on the microphone a lot. She came out and made a statement like, hey, like, this is completely opposite of the way that we feel about the organization. Like, we have nothing but respect for you guys. And we're just kind of hurt about this. So I feel like this gives a little chip on Stafford's shoulder. And there goes Kulz's light.
Wouldn't be a show without it.
I'm picking the Rams to win this game. I think they expose the Lions. I think the Lions are a great team, but Stafford and that high-powered offense with Kyren Williams, Puka Nacua, and that defense been playing better as of late. So I think the Rams win this game.
Yeah, I have them too. Like, better quarterback. They've got better defense.
How did that bubble?
What was that?
Where did that
again.
come from?
Do another thumbs up.
Better quarterback, better defense. What was?
Did you hit a button at all?
No. Better. Whoa,
I don't know what that was.
Weird stuff going on.
That was awesome. Oh,
That
bubble.
was great.
I saw bubble on the side. What?
Wow.
I don't know. Okay.
Anyway, we'll figure that out. So what were you saying, Shane?
I just think they're better defense, better quarterback. I think Laporta not playing, it looks like, is going to be huge loss for the Lions. So
Definitely.
I'm going upset too.
Yeah. I have the Rams too, and that makes me worried. And I'll have to do a little bit more research on this game because I don't like that we all have the Rams. And I don't like that my reasoning is very similar to Ryan's. Because, like, if we're all thinking that way, then is that just something that doesn't happen? Like, it is such a Lions thing to have all this energy and vibe, and then Stafford. It's just the story sounds way too good.
The narrative, yeah. Don't you think the majority of the money is going to be on the Lions?
I haven't even looked, but I'll do my research.
What would you think? What would you guess? The majority of the money would be on the Lions. I think it would.
Might be. But, besides the Bills, like, who's been hotter the last 4 or 5 weeks than the Rams?
Yeah.
I mean, the Bills are the only other team that have been.
Yeah, I don't. To answer your question, I don't. My brain's not ready for that right now.
All right, what's next?
The Bucks,
Eagles, Bucks.
This game, I am excited about as well. It's in Tampa. The Buccaneers, man, they play some good football, and the Eagles have been very suspect lately. And I think this is a scary game for the Eagles. Like, the Bucks have a legitimate chance to win this game. I am still picking the Eagles to win. I think the Eagles are able to get it done. However, I would not be surprised if the Bucks knock them out. I don't know, Shane. What do you think?
I think if you're going to tell me, if I come up on Sunday or Monday and they say, yeah, A.J. Brown and Smith's not going to play, oh, it's Bucks. Yeah, I'm taking them for sure. But, God, it's hard wrapping my head around Philadelphia losing to Tampa Bay.
I know.
Even it's in Tampa Bay. But I don't think one of those receivers are going to play. And so I'm going to take Tampa. If one of them doesn't play, I'm going to take Tampa.
Yeah, I have the Eagles. I actually, for some reason, think that if AJ's out, they're going to be better because of how toxic he's been on the sidelines. I just think that the Bucs are frauds.
Yeah.
They were in such a bad division. They looked okay in some games, but like the Panthers gave them a decent game. Like, I just don't think they're good. Eagles are an absolute mess, and I don't understand what's wrong with them.
Yeah,
like,
I don't get it.
Sirianni just lost the locker room, and he's a bad coach. They're just not buying his bullshit. Like, what the fuck? How does a team go from being so good to so bad?
They were 11
in
and
one
1
season.
11 and 1.
Yeah, and they were like starting to slip, and then a little bit of injuries, and then it was like quicksand. But like a team that has that many veterans, that was just in the Super Bowl, that has that much going for them, how do they just lose it entirely is crazy to me.
Well, and I had read like a lot of players in that locker room did not like that late season change of Patricia taking away the play calling duties away. I can't remember the coordinator's name.
Yeah,
and giving it to Patricia.
But don't you think they had to do something? They had to change it up. Their defense was complete dog shit. So, I don't blame them for making the move, but I don't think Patricia was the right answer either. So,
crazy. Yeah, so that's what we have for now. That's my picks. I'm going to do obviously more research, and I can tweet out like what my thoughts are before game time. But as of right now, that's where I'm at. I typically like to read the markets and revisit why sharp sides are being taken. So I'll be doing that research, and I'll definitely put it out on Twitter.
Yeah. What other games we got?
That's it. We're done.
Okay. All right. Well, that has been season 2 kickoff over here, episode 1. We are so happy to be doing this. Thank you to all the roadies. Stay tuned. We got a lot of great stuff coming for you guys. We appreciate you. Yeah. And again, this episode is brought to you by Rule One Proteins. Go to www.rule1proteins.com. Enter promo code Roadies40 at checkout to get 40% off. That's Roadies40.
Yep.
Do you guys have any other closing statements?
Yeah, I have a closing statement. I was going to wait until we were offline to say it, but might as well just put it in at the end. I genuinely loved this last hour and 15 minutes, and I'm very happy that we're back live on the mic talking football. This has been awesome.
I couldn't agree more.
Yep.
All right. Well, stay tuned. We got a lot more stuff coming for you guys. And Shane, go ahead and sign us out.
Buckle up. Thumbs up.